To Radio Karishma. I'm Amy Ridings. I'll be hosting this next segment. We have Jordan Gates here. We're going to be talking about domestic violence. And Jordan Gates, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jordan Gates, and I'm a therapist at Genesis Women's Shelter and Support in Dallas.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Why don't we start off by talking about what is domestic violence? What does that mean?
Yes. So domestic violence is when one partner in an intimate relationship exerts power and control over their partner through a pattern of intentional behaviors. It's really important when we talk about domestic violence to know that it's not just physical abuse. This also includes verbal, emotional, and sexual abuse. And some examples of that include religious and financial abuse, strangulation, threats, stalking, technology abuse, are just a few.
Perfect. Thanks so much. So how can I tell if someone I know or my friend is a victim of domestic violence? What are some signs that I can look out for?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we think about domestic violence, the signs aren't always as visible as you think they are because abuse just isn't in the form as physical. Some signs you could look out for, though, if you know someone experiencing this, is when your friend isolates themselves from family or friends. Maybe you have some friends that do not have access to finances. Maybe you have friends that used to engage in a lot of social activities and you find themselves isolating themselves more and not engaging in things they used to. Maybe if you're around her and her partner, you notice that her abusive partner is always putting her down, embarrassing her in public, things like that.
So I heard you talk about isolation. So how could I encourage her to open up and talk about what's happening?
Yeah, of course. So if you know someone experiencing domestic violence, it's really important. The first step is to always believe her. Oftentimes their abusive partners are the ones in the community that are very friendly, they're charismatic, and so you often want to minimize the abuse. So it's really important to validate her, validate what she's going through, even if it's not physical abuse. Some other different things you could do is to never blame her. So again, never minimize what she's going through, to validate her feelings and experiences her. And then you can also help her start to develop a safety plan if she's open to that. So just some ideas when thinking about a safety plan is always encouraging her to call 911 if she's in immediate danger. Helping her identify some supportive support systems in her life, some friends and family members that she could go to for support, and then helping her identify some places she could go to if she needed immediate help. And that leads me to the next one, which is you can always refer her to Genesis or any other domestic violence agencies in our area that she could call or go to for help. And then always continue to provide that additional support to her. Remember that you could be the very first person she opens up to, which is a really courageous and brave thing. That's not easy to do. So to continuously tell her that she's not alone and that you're there to help her.
So we talked a little bit about how to help a friend, but what if you're going through it yourself, or if you're finding yourself in a really dangerous situation and you can't live with the abuser anymore? What steps should you take?
Yeah, of course. That's another great question we hear a lot. So every different woman is in a different situation for a lot of different reasons, depending on what the abuse looks like and depending on if she has children or what resources she has access to. It's always important to be able to reach out to a domestic violence agency, either on the phone or online, because the most important thing is to be able to create a safety plan. We know the most dangerous time the most dangerous time of an abusive relationship is when you're leaving the relationship, and you're 75% more likely to be severely harmed or killed. And so having a safety plan and talking to an advocate or a counselor can make all of the difference.
And so when you do call, let's say you call a shelter because you need somewhere to go stay, what's the process? What's the step-by-step process that looks like?
Yes, so at Genesis, you would call our 24-hour hotline number, and that number is 214-946-HELP, 214-946-4357. And when you called that number, you would speak to somebody who would ask you some questions, provide that support, and help you determine what the best services are for you. And if that is shelter, help you determine, if we have room at our shelter, and give you other shelters to call if you need that. At Genesis, though, our services range from beyond shelter, and so we do have the shelter, which is where clients can stay up to 6 weeks. In addition to that, we have our transitional housing where women and children can live up to a year in apartments on our campus. And then in addition to that, we have an outreach office, and that's where you could go if you needed counseling. And so we provide weekly counseling to both women and children there. And then we have our advocate department, and our advocates help you maybe get connected to legal resources, child resources, different resources in the community that would help your situation.
And how much do your services cost?
All of our services are free.
Wow, that's amazing. So what if you're scared to call? So we talked about this hotline, but what if you're afraid that your abuser is going to somehow know that you made that phone call, or if you feel like it's dangerous and you're going to be in a worse situation? So how is information handled at Genesis?
Yeah, that's a great question. Of course, the moment you decide to call, it's a really scary moment for a lot of different reasons. And it's important to know at Genesis, all of our services are free and then they're confidential. And when we say confidential, we mean we do not disclose any of our clients. We don't disclose any information, including who you are. And in addition to that, we know that our clients are in very unsafe situations, so we're very careful. We make sure it's safe to call our clients back, and we make sure it's safe to leave a message. And then in addition, we do have our 24-hour hotline number because we know that clients sometimes need a call in the middle of the night because it's the only chance they get to call.
And again, that number is 214-946-HELP. 214-946-4357. So we talked about what these women might face and obstacles in leaving. I think a common one might be if she has children. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. A lot of our clients at Genesis do have children, and we know that 5 million children witness domestic violence each year in the United States. We also believe that every child deserves to live in a safe environment, and so that is why we provide services to children as well. So at our outreach facility, we provide both group and individual counseling to our children of all ages from 2 to 18. And when we provide counseling, we help them identify their feelings and process what they're going through and help them walk through them in their healing process. And then additionally, at our shelter and transitional housing, we have a school and we have a playground and we have daycare, and it's a very family-friendly environment. So the moment kids walk in, they feel very safe and comfortable.
That sounds like it's going a long way in breaking the generational cycle of domestic violence. So, we know that we have that option available to either visit the website, genesisshelter.org, or call the hotline. What if you are in immediate danger? We're always told you should call 911. Is the same true with domestic violence?
Yes, you should always call 911 if you're in immediate danger. Genesis has a partnership with our Dallas police officers, and so we know that our police officers are being trained so they can handle these situations and respond in effective ways. And then we also encourage you after these dangerous situations to please reach out to Genesis, call our hotline number, visit our website, which has safety planning resources on there, but to create a safety plan so the next time it happens, you have something in place, and that can make all the difference.
And what might a safety plan look like? It sounds like it would be different for each woman, but I think you chatted about this a little bit earlier, but can you give a couple examples of what that might be?
Yes, definitely. So every safety plan does look different for every client. Some general things to consider is, again, identifying people you trust, say family and friends that you could go to in immediate danger. Always calling our hotline number if you're in immediate danger. Some other things to think about would be collecting important documents. I always tell clients to make a copy of your driver's license or passport, any important documents your children have, and so you can have that with you, have to leave in a rush, or to be able to give that to a safe family member or friend, so if you do have to leave and you can't get back into your home, that you have those belongings. Some other things to think about if you're living in an environment is unsafe is if you're able to remove all the weapons or things that could be used as a weapon, to always know your escape routes if you need to leave quickly.
Well, thanks so much for that. And just to wrap up, how does this end? Does it end with divorce? Does it end with the marriage being saved? What do you see from client to client with this?
Yes, of course. So every situation is very different. And so it does not end in a one thing or the next. We do want you to understand that every person deserves to live in an abuse-free relationship. And so at Genesis, we help you get to a place where you feel safe for you and your children, and that can look different for every person. We also want our clients to know that we always respect their decisions, and we know that they know what's best for them. And so we're here to support them in whatever decision they decide.
Well, Jordan, thank you so much. And again, our website is www.genesisshelter.org, and the 24-hour hotline is 214-946-4357.